Hello and welcome to a special Fox Footy presentation as we take a look back at the NAB Under-18 Championships for 2005. Jason Bennett alongside AFL talent manager Kevin Sheehan. Welcome, Kevin. Thanks for your time as we take a look back at what's developed into one of the most important fortnights on the AFL recruiting calendar.
Look, it's a great week. It's the 10th year since it was raised to under-18 level, and again we saw the 200 best 17 and 18-year-olds in the country going around and loved by all that saw it. The championship staged in Melbourne as a three-game round-robin carnival split into two divisions. Division 1 features the national heavyweights, the two Victorian teams, Metro and Country, head-to-head with South Australia and WA. Vic Metro entering the carnival as a team to beat once again, the reigning champs having won 6 of the previous 9 Division 1 titles. And as you can see there, Division 2 featuring Tasmania, New South Wales, ACT, Northern Territory and Queensland. The Northern Territorians keen to defend the title they won in 2004. The Territory's first up assignment saw them take on the proud football state of Tasmania. The Apple Isle having produced a string of the game's all-time greats over the past century as we take a look at the highlights.
Lonergan again, very good play around the stoppages, and here's Grimer. We're seeing the prime movers early from 45, goes for home, bounces it through for another. He's got 2 in 2 minutes. Gives it off, measures, backs his pace, slips a tackle, spears long towards the top of the square. Again, it's a strategy that hasn't necessarily worked, but on that occasion, some brilliant front and centre roving from that man, Matty Campbell. Coming through was Randall Rioli inside 50. They need a good start. Here's a chance for Stevenson, who has gone forward. I mentioned he lit up the Tasmanians last year, and he's done it again. Beautiful goal. Coming out was Grimmer. Tried to paddle to the advantage of his teammate there in Fagan. Taken away by Hill. Under pressure. Ball came back to Charlesworth. Quick snap out of nowhere from Charlesworth is a goal. Banged it on the boot. Tazzy get the opening goal of the final term. Lonergan gets it away from the stoppage again inside 50. Grimmer for goal number 10.
He is a spoil sport, I tell you. Every time they start to challenge, they work so hard, the Territory.
42-39 inside 50s in favour of the Territory. But here's Grimmer for goal number 10. For 10 straight.
Yep.
Good day at the office for Todd Grimmer. He's booted 10 goals straight.
So a fantastic start to the carnival for Tasmania. The Apple Isle extending its lead at every change to ultimately run out comprehensive 62-point winners. Key forward Todd Grimer, the standout with 10 goals straight. Kevin Sheehan, 10 goals in Division 2 contest against undersized opposition, it must be said. But how much stock would AFL recruiters put in that performance?
Look, he's uncanny around the goals. There's no doubt about that. Kicked them right and left. He's a good size at 193. They'll certainly take into account he was against undersized people, but he's kicked 3 bags. Other than that, 10 of over 7 this year. So he's got something special about him, and they'll certainly be watching him play for the Tassie Devils, I'd suggest, as the year unfolds.
Certainly the standout performance of the carnival individually. Well, next up was the clash between New South Wales, ACT and Queensland. The New South Welshmen looking to reclaim the title they captured in 2003. Here's the highlight of that game from Optus Oval.
Ball still alive in the middle. Queensland almost by scrum tactics get it forward. Here's Steve Britton, spearing kick, it was a beauty. And out on the lead, the mark's taken by Brent Renouf.
Just proves on the wing there too, Al. Graham Cooper chased that New South Wales player down, so Craig McRae would be happy with that.
Renouf with a long ball, kicks a goal. Elects to pick it up. Beautiful handball inboard to the voice of Jack. Jack runs on and kicks a goal. Great football from New South Wales. Beautiful transition. Play on called. Mankarius to Tutt. He's ripped off it. Fantastic tackle. Chance now for Queensland through Ryan Hooper. He'll run to 40. Maybe just a little bit too much under pressure now. He gets it back. Twists and turns. Gets away. Off a step and kicks a brilliant goal. Quarters today been going around about 25, 26 minutes. So plenty of time. Here's Lynch. The look-away handball. Sets up Addison. He runs, balances, shoots and goals. In the back half for Queensland today. Over the top went Johnston. The ball's with Mills. Quick snap out of the pack is good from Lee Spur. Big goal for the Queenslanders. The margin back out to 15 points.
And so it was the Queenslanders leading for all but 6.5 minutes in this game on their way to a hard-fought 16-point win. The damage done with 3 quick goals late in the opening term. Julian Canis finished with 3 goals for the winners, while Armitage and Logie collected 20 possessions apiece for their respective sides. A good start for Queensland, Kevin, but New South Wales ACT showing plenty of character to hang in and challenge all afternoon.
Yeah, and a couple of debutant coaches with AFL experience. Craig McRae, a triple premiership player with the Lions, coaching Queensland, and Daniel McPherson, a former Swan with New South Wales ACT for the first time. So a terrific competitive match. And Kieran Jack's a player to watch. His father, Gary, was a rugby league, superstar.
Legend at Balmain, yeah.
Yes, and he had a terrific championship, started very well there.
We return to Optus Oval the following day for a big Division 1 double-header, kicking off with the clash between South Australia and Vic Country. The Crow Eaters keen to get away to a good start in their bid to claim the title for the first time since 1995.
Xavier Ellis, a 17-year-old from Lakes Entrance. Copped a couple early. Here's a chance for South Australia through Yeomans. Dribbles it towards goal and puts it through. South Australia on the board inside a minute. West back to Selwood. Now throws it out wide to Luby. He's under some pressure. Gives it over the top to Ellis. Ellis can run to 55. Go for home. It's a good long kick and it is straight. 2 on 2. Selwood got fist of ball, then butters up at ground level. Has got a man inside. It's done from 55 to the top of the square. Here's a chance for Victoria. Ben Fraser had his eyes on the football. Fraser kicked a goal in the opening term. And from point-blank range, kicks his second. O'Brien, boot to ball. Dragged off his kick. Affected the result. Robert Eddy did a 720 and gave up the football. Chance now for South Australia. They are on the charge in this final term. 3 goals in 3 minutes to South Australia as Dutchke kicks another one.
So it was a flying start for the South Australians, who held a 3-goal lead for most of the opening 3 quarters before exploding away with 6 unanswered final term goals to run out convincing 51-point winners. Key forwards Hughes and Rishbeath finishing with 3 goals apiece for the Crow Eaters, while Ben Fraser booted 3 for the Vics. And Xavier Ellis, we saw on screen with that great running goal. Shades of Luke Power. We drew parallels with Luke Power across the weekend. He made a real impression up front, Kevin. 23 possessions, very classy performance, a player to watch.
Yes, he is one to watch. He's from Lakes Entrance. He's down at Melbourne Grammar. Plays with Gippsland Power when he gets the chance to play away from school, and Paul Hudson is down there as the coach. A really classy left footer. He's a bit taller than Luke Power. He's about the 187 mark, so that's 6'2" in the old, and he's a left footer like Luke. A real smart decision maker, a player to watch out for.
Well, the final game of the opening round of the championships pitted Vic Metro against WA. Now, this was a fixture decided last year by a Lance Franklin goal on the final siren. Would it go down to the wire again in 2005?
Ball towards half forward. Running onto it with pace was Oakley Nichols. Lines him up and puts it through. Nice finish from Jared Oakley Nichols. And WA take the lead. They're 2 straight goals. The Vics 1-8. We've played 12 minutes in the opening term. Mark dropped by Neves. Buttering up there was Thomas. Kick partly smothered. Murphy for the Vics. Height advantage to Oakley Nichols. Tapped it on. It spills to Lee Adams. Flying shot at goal is a beauty. O'Brien did well to hold it up. It's now a 3-on-1. The numbers will win out for Victoria. The sheer weight of numbers. Gets it to Mark Murphy. He runs inside 50, the skipper, and delivers.
Oh, what an educated kick.
Leroy Jetta really ignited them in that third term. Had 8 possessions. So creative. Swings it inboard. Here's Ryder, who's worked hard for WA. Inside 50, and on the end of it is Josh Kennedy.
But now just to win that footy, get it out where Jetta again, smart play, switch direction.
Kennedy from right on 50. Launches it high, long, and straight.
Ryan, you're about tall enough, be tall. It's better.
McKinley goes high to 50. 3 men up, and here's Phillips down. Phillips from 40 metres out, kicks a ripper. He is class.
Put that in the scrapbook.
Simon Phillips.
Well, no hard-stopping finish this time around. The Vics taking control with 8 unanswered goals from late in the opening term to crack the game wide open. 41 points the margin at the major break. Bo Dowler and Simon Phillips were a dynamic duo up forward, finishing with 7 goals between them. And while the Vics were always in command, we were impressed with the spirit of the Sandgropers, who refused to buckle in the second half. But ultimately, the Big V comfortable 27-point winners in the end, Kevin, was considered to be a bit of an upset, this one.
Yes, but it just shows how difficult it is to come across the Nullarbor. We see it at the AFL level. It's hard to win away. And WA very good in second half, so that would give Jerry McNeil, their coach, some hope for the rest of the week. But Nathan Jones and Mark Murphy were terrific for the Vic Metro, getting the ball out of the centre, 50 possessions between them. They made the difference.
Well, the Carnival then packed up and headed down the Geelong Road to reconvene for the midweek round 2 matches at Skilled Stadium, kicking off with the Division 2 clash between Tazzy and New South Wales ACT. New South Wales ACT got away to a flying start with the opening 3 goals of the game before Tazzy responded with 3 in 4 minutes to take a 3-point lead into the first change. 3 goals to 2 in the second term gave Tasmania a 13-point lead at the major break before New South Wales ACT pulled within a goal at the last change. The game was in the balance all the way into time on before a set-shot goal to Tassie captain Sam Lonigan at the 21-minute mark sealed the result. Kevin, this was one of the closest games of the carnival.
Yeah, terrific game of footy, and they've been great rivals over the years, Tasmania and the New South Wales ACT. The player that really impressed me in this game was Grant Birchall, the big, rangy left-footer playing in the midfield, can come across half-back. He's from Devonport and Tassie. 24 possessions, a real best-on-the-ground performance. Terrific for his side.
So in the end, it was a hard-fought win for Tassie. New South Wales ACT once again scrapping hard, but just falling short of the mark. The final margin, 11 points. Mitchell Thorpe finished with 2 goals for the winners, while Andrew Johnston and Kieran Jack kicked 2 apiece for New South Wales ACT. The Tasmanians making it 2 from 2, a great start to the carnival for them.
Yes, and a very even side too. We've seen them at under-16 level win the championship last year, so there's been a group of youngsters coming through, and that really showed out the way they work together as a side.
Well, next up was the Division 2 clash between first-round victors Queensland and defending champs the Northern Territory, desperate to bounce back from their first-round loss. A great start for the Banana Benders in this one, with 4 goals in the opening 12 minutes to set up a 22-point quarter-time lead. 3 unanswered goals in the second term, all but sealed the result. Queensland hitting half-time with a commanding 40-point advantage. From there, they were never really challenged. Queensland scoring their second win of the championship. The final margin, a comfortable 51 points. And Kevin, whilst there was a lot of mercurial brilliance in the Northern Territory side, Queensland just with a little bit of better balance. They had plenty of brilliant players, but they also had some good, big, strong key position players to complement those.
Oh, there's no doubt that the likes of Austin Lucy and young Wade Mills at centre half-back, Lucy at full-back were terrific players all week. They're bigger-bodied players at 193, 194 centimetres, 6'3", 6'4", far too big for the NT. That really lacked the spark of a Tambling or a Xavier Clark or a Raphael Clark that I've seen in recent years.
Queensland putting themselves in the box seat to win their first Division 2 title since 1999. They did it in fine style. Screech booting 3 goals for the winners, while Spur, Canis and White all finished with 2 apiece. Just the one multiple goal kicker for the Territory, Jethro Kalmar-Holt, kicking 2 on a disappointing afternoon for the reigning title holders. You mentioned a few of those standout players, the likes of their fullback, Austin Lucy, a very promising prospect for the second year in a row. Wade Mills, on-baller Gavin Urquhart, they all enjoyed very, very good carnivals.
And the good part about Gavin Urquhart is he's a bottom-age player. He's one that we'll see in these under-18 championships next year, and Queensland had quite a number of those.
Following day saw a Division 1 doubleheader at Skilled Stadium, kicking off with the big clash between South Australia and WA. The Crow Eaters looking for back-to-back wins, while the Sandgropers were keen to atone for a disappointing performance against Vic Metro. There was nothing in this game at all in the opening half. South Australia leading by a point at quarter time before a late goal to Leroy Jetta just before half-time gave WA a 9-point lead at the main break. The third term would prove to be all-important. 3 unanswered goals to the Westerners, handing them control of the contest. The margin at three-quarter time, a handy 26 points. The dominance of the Sandgropers became more pronounced the longer the game carried on. A further 4 goals to 1 in the last term, blowing out the final margin to 47 points. A great turnaround for WA and disappointing for South Australia after they were so good in the first round.
Yeah, Jason, it was good to see Mitch Clark, who'd been highly ranked from WA, from East Fremantle, kick 3 goals in this game. It struggled in game 1, improved. Leroy Jetta was brilliant up forward for WA, a real live wire.
So it was WA continuing on their impressive second half form against Vic Metro, comfortably accounting for a disappointing South Australia. The Crow Eaters unable to crack the WA defence to find avenues to goal. As Kevin mentioned, the highly rated Mitchell Clark bounced back from his disastrous afternoon against the Vics to finish with 3, and Leroy Jetta also booting 3 goals, while the South Australians could only manufacture 3 between them as WA reignited their campaign in fine style. Well, the final game of round 2 was the Victorian Derby, or Derby, depending on which side of the country you come from, between Metro and Country. These two powerhouses sharing the last 5 championship titles between them. Metro ever so impressive against WA, while Country had been disappointing. They had plenty to prove and needed a lift here. A bright start from Vic Country as well, and they had the better of the opening term to lead by 6 points at the first change. Metro squandered some opportunities in front of goal in the second term, Country adding the only 2 goals of the quarter to lead by 14 points at the main break. That advantage was extended to 20 points early in the third term before Metro started to find their rhythm. The City Boys booting the final 3 goals of the quarter to reduce their deficit to a solitary point at the last change. It was tight and tense early in the final quarter before Metro forward Ben McKinley, stepped up and took control with 3 goals in 5 minutes to break Country's spirit, and a further 3 late goals to Metro eventually blew the margin out to 38 points. Country's 2005 championship dreams up in smoke in the most disappointing of fashions, but Ben McKinley certainly putting a big star next to his name, standing up when it mattered.
Oh, yes, those 3 last quarter goals were special. He's a Russell Robinson type, I think, just over the 6-foot mark, but can take a terrific contested mark, very lively and got a great set of hands.
So it was Vic Metro taking a significant step towards defending their title. The City Slickers too good for their country cousins in that final term. Ben McKinley, as I mentioned, 3 clutch goals when the game was in the balance, saw him finish with 5, while Nagel and Grant Weeks booted 2 apiece for Country. Well, 2 rounds down and 1 to go in the NAB Under-18 Championships for 2005. Back for the climax of the carnival right after this on Fox Footy. Welcome back to our look at the NAB Under-18 Championships for season 2005. 2 rounds down and 1 to go in the race for the national titles, and it's time now to turn our attention to the final 2 matches of Division 2. It had been a disappointing carnival for New South Wales ACT and the Northern Territory, with neither able to win a game in the opening 2 rounds, but one would walk away with a consolation victory when they met in round 3. A super start from New South Wales ACT, leaping out of the blocks with 3 goals in the opening 7 minutes before the Territory steadied with the final 2 goals of the term to trail by just 6 points at the first change. But it was New South Wales ACT taking control again in the second quarter, 3 goals to 1, giving them a handy 20-point half-time lead. Growing in confidence, New South Wales ACT broke the game wide open in the third term, 5 goals to 1, blowing their advantage out to 7 goals at the last break before a further 3 goals to 1 saw them finish the carnival in fine style with an impressive 57-point win, and great for the New South Wales youngsters to finish their 2005 campaign with a big victory after 2 frustrating losses in games they potentially could have snatched. Disappointment for reigning champions the Northern Territory, who headed home winless, their lack of size and diversity effectively exploited by the other Division 2 contenders. Adam Pryor putting a star next to his name with an impressive 7-goal performance for the winners, while live wire Malcolm Lynch bobbed up with 3. Thomas Motlop, the Territory's only multiple goal scorer, he too finished with 3 goals. So the Division 2 title will be decided by a showdown between the 2 unbeaten sides, Tasmania and Queensland. The Tasmanians had won the title twice back in 1996 and 2001, while Queensland had won it in 97 and 99. Who would claim it in 2005? Let's take a look at the highlights. Tasmania made the early running in the opening term, 9 scoring shots to 4, giving the boys from the Apple Isle a 15-point lead at the first change. The Queenslanders hit back in the second quarter, 3 goals to 1, bringing them back to within 2 points at the main break. 4 goals to 3 in the third term in favour of Tazzy set the scene for a thrilling finale. Tasmania heading into the last quarter with a 9-point lead before ultimately hanging on to claim the 2005 Division 2 title with an entertaining 11-point win. And Kevin, they did it with a couple of close victories where they had to grit their teeth and hang on.
Oh, yes, and this was a fantastic game, probably the best game of the championship. The
good conditions, I see.
Well, Division 1 standard. This is the only time we had a little bit of rain over the week, but Sam Lonergan, give him a rap. The captain was fantastic. 27 disposals in this game, really set the scene for the whole week for Tasmania. They
didn't go away, Queensland, either. They fought it all the way to the end, and as I mentioned, it was great for the Tasmanians to win 2 of their games, certainly came within a couple of goals, so it just showed the character of this side and the maturity of these youngsters. And jubilation for Tassie as they claimed their first national championship since 2001, unbeaten in their 3 outings under coach Hamish Ogilvie. Todd Grimer finished off with his impressive carnival, another 3 goals for him, while Beck, Howard, Lonergan, Wade all booted 2 as they shared the load forward to the centre. The gallant Queenslanders also had their spread of goal scorers, Lee Spur finishing with 3, a host of players chipping in with 2 apiece. So jubilation for the Tasmanians, as I mentioned, they hoist the cup under coach Hamish Ogilvie. Wonderful performance from them, and great for this state. Division 2 take the title again with an entertaining 11-point win. As we take a look at the final ladder, Tasmania with 3 wins, Queensland with 2, New South Wales with 1 victory, and as I mentioned, the Northern Territory winless. But Kevin, a wonderful performance, and great for Hamish Ogilvie and the youngsters.
Well, I think it's terrific for Tassie footy and terrific for the AFL. I think there's a few more. Justin Shermans, who's been terrific for Brisbane this year, at Tasmanian, of course. Jason Laycock there at Essendon. They've produced a few in recent years. I think there's half a dozen that might end up going on to play AFL in the next couple of years.
And so to the final round of Division 1, and firstly to the clash between WA and Vic Country. The Sandgropers were still in with a chance of stealing the title after they'd accounted for South Australia Well, it was all about pride for the Vics, winless after 2 rounds and desperate for a good performance to hang their hat on. WA ended this contest high on confidence, and it showed early as they booted the only 4 goals of the opening term to lead by 22 points at the first change. The Westerners added a 5th goal early in the second term before the Vics finally got on the board with a goal to Joel Selwood at the 11-minute mark. The margin at this stage, 23 points. But WA responded with 2 quick goals to head to the main break with a commanding 39-point advantage. The Vics edging back ever so slightly in the third, but still 37 points down at the last break. A further 4 goals to 3 in the final term in favour of the Sandgropers, and it was a comprehensive 41-point victory to the boys from the West. They came in pretty highly regarded, Kevin. They took that first half against the Vic Metro, that was, to really adjust and settle in, but after that they played some pretty good footy.
Yeah, so it's about 2 things. It's about trying to win a title, trying to develop footballers. I think Gerard McNeil will be happy with the development of his group of players over the week, over the 3 games. Andrew Swallow led them superbly, had a fantastic championship, was runner-up in the finish in the Lark medal.
So all in all, a pretty good carnival for WA. They recovered well from that sluggish start against the Vic Metro side with 2 wins from 3 games. They needed South Australia to roll Vic Metro to stay in the hunt for the national title. The classy Matthew Seal finishing with 4 goals for the winners, while Mitchell Clark's stocks continued to rise. He booted a further 3 goals. Jonathan Simpkins, country's only multiple goal scorer. Another disappointing afternoon for the boys from the bush. So to the Division 1 decider between traditional rivals Vic Metro and South Australia. The 2004 title had been decided in extra time of this corresponding fixture, and a win to the Crow Eaters could see them take the crown for the first time since 1995. But it was a blistering start from the Vics, with Ben McKinley and Simon Phillips tearing the South Australian defence apart with 2 goals apiece in the opening term, as Metro slammed on 7 goals to 1 point to lead by a remarkable 41 points at the first break. The Crow Eaters' first goal came 4 minutes into the second term, the Vics ultimately claiming the quarter with 3 goals to 2 to lead by 46 points at half-time. South Australia had the better of the third term, adding 4 goals to 1 to draw within 24 points at the final change. But it was Vic Metro steadying in the last term to claim the 2005 National Championship with a 23-point win. And Kevin, once again, we saw one team get out of the blocks, get away to a flying start, and that was the difference in the end.
I think it was just the clearance work. They were fantastic out of the centre, and right from the first bounce of the opening day, it was Mark Murphy, the Vic Metro captain, that set the standard with the first clearance, then the first tackle, and did it for the 3 games. So he was a wonderful leader for his side. A
great performance from the professional Metro outfit, led once again by forward Ben McKinley, finishing with 6 goals. Goal sneak Simon Phillips enhanced his chances with another 2 goals, while Christopher Kane also booted 2 for the Big V. Tom Rishbeath was South Australia's only multiple goal scorer, finishing with 2 on a disappointing afternoon for the Crowheaders. But a very enjoyable afternoon for Vic Metro as they claimed their 7th title in 10 years. Coach David Dixon getting the job done once again.
Yes, he's got that great ability to bring a group of boys together very quickly. They'll only gather a month before the championships. They have a wonderful spirit, and the history suggests that 17 or 18 of these will end up at AFL lists in the next couple of years.
So there's the final ladder. 3 wins to the Vics, 2 to WA, 1 to South Australia, and no wins to Vic Country. And so to the All-Australian team, selected on the basis of performances throughout the carnival in both divisions. Let's take a look at this lineup, Kevin. You're one of the selectors. Talk us through some of the real standouts of the championships, and I guess particularly guys we haven't covered off so far.
Yeah, probably Darren Pfeiffer from South Australia across half-back, a real natural footballer, can play at either end of the ground, a beautiful kick, wonderful hands. Paul Barrett, centre half-back, athletic type at just 17 years of age. And Joel Selwood, forget about him for the draft next year, but you pencil him right in. His twin brothers already playing at the AFL level. He was terrific for Vic Country all week. Cleve Hughes, a very athletic centre-half forward at 193, had 3 very good games for SA, so he's one to watch. Well, you couldn't forget probably the performance of Patrick Ryder in the ruck from WA, an Indigenous youngster that really stood up in 3 games back-to-back, was really a terrific player for them, one to look for in the draft this year.
So as we mentioned earlier, it's a pretty fair indication. A lot of players obviously taken in the All-Australian team will go on and be spotted by AFL scouts. So it's a very big time in the AFL calendar. Kevin, congratulations on another great national carnival, and we appreciate your time here on Fox.
Jace, it was a terrific week. We thoroughly enjoyed it, and good luck to all the boys that played. It really is just part of their development, and let's hope we see many in the AFL in the years to come.
Well, 70 of the 200-odd players we saw running around in last year's Under-18 Championships went on to be drafted to an AFL club at the end of the season. We can expect to see similar numbers again this year. It's a long and winding road to the NAB AFL draft on November 26, but we'll be there for every step of the journey, as always. Thanks again for your company for this special presentation. This has been the NAB 2005 Under-18 Championships right here on Fox Footy.